The Catechism Cataclysm is a 2011 dark comedy film which delves into a horror-filled religious world. The movie depicts the ridiculous and meandering priest William, usually called Billy in the film, and his childhood idol, Robbie, portrayed by Steve Little and Robert Longstreet. Together, the two embark on what is supposed to be a short canoe trip. Instead, shenanigans, comedy, and an exploding head paint the screen. In this video, I will present for you the top 10 reasons to watch the Catechism Cataclysm. Of course, this list is entirely my opinion. I have new videos coming out all the time, so before we get started, please hit that like and subscribe, as it is the only way I can grow. And without any further ado, at 10 we have Miguel trapped in concrete. In one of the many parables of the film, while traveling downriver, Robbie tells Billy a story of Miguel, portrayed by Enrique Alguin, who was entrapped in concrete, and his love, Maria Milagros, portrayed by Barbara Pomer, who brings him food and visits him every day. Billy misses the point, if there is one, and decides it should end with Miguel destroying the bridge with a giant erection, in a hilarious and well-told mini-story within the film.
What if his penis boner was so strong, like, bang, 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 the highway starts to... I hope his body's as good as his face, and it is.
At 9, we have the explosion scene. As the mysterious Tom and Huck lay a confusing EDM-based judgment on Billy and Robbie, Billy survives, although he is labeled a Judas Priest and knocked out. Robbie, however, whose facial expressions are great and really flesh out the scene, as he goes from laughter to confusion to complete horror and back again, has his head brutally blown to pieces. At 8, we have drunk Billy. Billy, who it is hinted has never drank, drinks for the first time, and after one beer he is hammered.
Oh, it's awesome! Yeah, party hardy!
Singing and acting ridiculous.
Oh, Hosanna! Oh, Hosanna!
Causing shenanigans and in general being quite funny.
Rock and roll! Oh, son of a bitch! Well, don't do that!
At 7, we have Billy's breakdown speech. After Billy is chased by birds and runs through the forest, basically completely freaking out, he flags down a man in a truck and asks for a ride by breaking into an insane and over-the-top speech in which Billy screams a quick rundown of the movie.
I sent Robbie an email and then he responded, and it was my idea to go canoeing. Bad idea, because in his head, the Japanese girls, they made his head explode. They did, and they got all over me, and then I ran.
Which eventually devolves into a diatribe about a man who never showed up in the film, and how he had to fight with and kick said man.
And then I fought that man, and I kicked him.
At 6, we have Shane Lee, Octave Master. As Billy wastes time on the internet, he watches a hilarious YouTube video, where Shane Lee attempts to sing 5 octaves. It is a very funny, very well done scene, as Shane's notes almost all sound identical. And Billy's reactions only add to the ridiculous humor, as Shane goes through the full extent of his dynamic and impressive vocal range.
Dude, what are you doing? Dude.
At 5, we have Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn.
Huckleberry Finn です。Tom Sawyer です。
The, in my opinion, angels of death that are Tom and Huck are depicted with an over-the-top accent and add a level of fun and mystery to the film that should not be understated.
We need all your ships. We need a sleeping bag,
テント、
toilet paper,
ウォーター、
motorcycle.
地獄に行っちゃうよ。
As the two enter the movie, they proclaim they are taking everyone to freedom.
We take everyone's freedom.
フリーダムです。
And they need everything. And in this scene, as well as when they re-emerge to party with the leads, they are simply hilarious, and quite possibly the funniest part of the movie, and most definitely the scariest and most mysterious. At 4, we have Robert Longstreet as Robbie Shoemaker. Robert's performance is done with an exceptional talent. He is darker and more emotionally broken down and angrier than Billy. He is shown to have somewhat turned his back on his children and his past relationships and his past desires in life, at one point somberly watching a couple with their child. It is probably for these reasons Robbie's head is blown to pieces by Tom and Huck, as well as being the only character to undergo the judgment process that did not confess anything of value, mocked the idea of confession.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned.
That's not funny.
And did not appear to have any faith in God. The same things that get him killed define and flesh him out as a believable and enjoyable character. And as he develops and starts to appreciate Billy and truly like him, I found myself wanting things to work out for him. I had developed a belief for the character and an emotional connection I wanted to see fulfilled through a character-driven comedy. As I had forgotten, I had signed up for an unlabelable comedy horror EDM megamix. Then Robbie's head was suddenly blown to pieces, and all hope for the character was lost. Overall, Robert Longstreet's portrayal as Robbie is great. His interactions and chemistry with Steve Little should not be understated, as he gives us a well-defined, well-acted, and quite understandable and believable portrayal of Robbie. At 3, we have Steve Little, whose grand and ridiculous portrayal of the over-the-top insanity that is Father William is a work of comedic genius. That said, Steve Little is insanely silly and likely not for everyone.
My main man, Jesus is my main man.
His comedic timing and styling, in my opinion, are perfect for the role. And he gives us a grand depiction as Father William, or Billy.
Who's there? You wanna fight, bird? Oh.
His singing, jokes, and epic ridiculousness effectively leads and runs the film from the opening scene to the ending. At 2, we have Todd Rohal, the grand architect of this beyond insane world. What Rohal has created is an undefinable, unlabelable, completely confusing and bewildering comedic horror-filled romp. His understanding of his material as he effectively depicts Tom and Huck as angelic EDM masters and makes a scene that is absolutely insane and quite hard to understand seemingly work and quite effectively depict the head explosion. He is to blame for the parable within a parable insanity that defines the Catechism Cataclysm, and I thank him personally for creating such a wacky, mind-bending film. We have 3 honorable mentions. One is Robbie as a rock. After Tom and Huck blow Robbie's head up, Billy places a rock on his body and puts him in a canoe. He later breaks down, being unable to steer, and upon praying to God, and declaring if he wants to be friends to please work in his mysterious ways, Robbie rises and sets the canoe adrift, before falling over as his head appears far too heavy for his body, and dying again. The next is Billy's band.
You were in a band.
Yeah, I was in a band, Tree of Joshua.
As told to Robbie, within their musical history, Billy created a song entitled The 11th Commandment.
I did keyboards and vocal harmonies. We pushed some buttons.
Which Moses kept to himself so he could be the coolest person alive, and which gives the right to rock and roll. As Billy explains the song, he bursts out in hilarious examples of the guitar lines and the vocals, and I imagine it was a truly epic piece.
Thou shalt rock and roll! Oh.
Although it was never performed.
Oh, dude, I would have killed to see that.
Well, actually, we never really got the chance to play it.
The last honorable mention is the performance given during the lead character's breakdown scene. As Robbie turns on Billy, Robbie admits he does not even know Billy and screams at him, to which the two break down and throw chicken tenders and smash their beer in a very effective, very emotional, and very well-acted scene. It should be noted the sun is going down, and in interviews the actors have stated that there was only a small amount of time to get the takes. These scenes are acted to a near perfection, and it adds a great weight to them, knowing that the actors only had a very small window of time, perhaps 10 to 15 minutes to get it all down. At number 1, we have insane, unlabelable, comedic cult masterpiece achieved. The comedy, acting, timing of said comedy and perfection of said acting, the development of the leads, the insanity and confusion of Huck Finn, Tom Sawyer, and Jim, as well as the ridiculousness of the parables and overall direction of Todd Rohal, creates an unlabelable comedic cult masterpiece, one that holds solid over multiple watches, and arguably has various interpretations and Easter eggs for geeks to seek out, but one that is yet to achieve its culthood, and one that may never achieve said stardom, but one I believe will rise through the ranks as time moves on, to gain a cult of fans that may perhaps someday figure out just what the hell is going on in this film. All of that said, I do not recommend this film to the normal moviegoer. It is extremely strange and may well go nowhere, but to those who enjoy this style, it will arguably go further than most, and may well dwell in a genre all its own. And for some, if you are like me, you will simply love this film. With a combination of all my personal favorite elements of film, comedy, horror, religion, and arguably Twilight Zone-styled science fiction insanity, but done in a darkly religious world, with Easter eggs and a variety of interpretations. Thank you so much for delving into the top 10 reasons you should watch the Catechism Cataclysm. I have new videos coming out all the time, and if you enjoyed this, you will likely enjoy those as well. So please headsplode that like and sub for me. It is the only way I can grow. And until next time, keep sleepwalking, my friends.